All right. Do you feel freaked out by AI or are you excited about AI?
The days that I'm using it for my benefit, I'm like, this thing is awesome. And then the days that I am a little bit uh, worried is when I think about the Terminator and how AI is going to take over. So I
Yeah.
make sure I'm nice to AI all the time.
So like excited but a little bit scared.
Yeah. I'm just
Yeah.
making sure that if they take over the world, I could be their server boy or something.
There you go. There you go. Well, today we're going to be talking about how to use AI to power your goal achievement. And this is something that at Full Focus, we have been really diving into AI for a whole host of things. And goal achievement is one of the best ways that you can be using AI to your advantage. So let's jump in.
Welcome to another episode of Focus on This, the most productive podcast on the internet so you can banish distractions, get the right stuff done, and finally start loving Mondays. I'm Ken Freire, and I'm here with Marissa Hyatt. Happy
Happy
Monday!
Monday. Woo,
Marissa, it's
it's
so good to be back. I know
it
it's my
is
second episode, but I'm enjoying it. I'm glad.
I know. I am really glad to be back as well and glad that you're back because let me just tell you, it is not easy to record episodes by yourself. So I'm definitely glad that we can share the load together because it's not only easier, but it's a lot more fun. So I'm really excited about today's episode. We actually got this idea from Sarah in our Full Focus Planner community. She had asked us to talk about AI and how to use it specifically for goal achievement. And I'm so glad she asked because this is something that we have been talking about. Within Full Focus as a team and have been using it. We've been talking about it with our life focus community and really diving in specifically how to use AI for their goal achievement and for their life vision that they've created. So there's some really exciting ways that you can use it to your advantage.
I love it. So, before we do jump in to talk about how to use it for your advantage and the opportunities you have for it, let's give these guys some tips on the best use of AI, especially if
Yes.
you're new to it.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of different tools out there. The most infamous one is ChatGPT, right? That's the one that a lot of people use. There's a free version and then there's a pay version. And if you have never dabbled in it, I would just say it's kind of like Google search. You could just again, just type in something and it'll feed you some information, right? That's the like basics 101. But if you want to get
Mhm.
to the next level, here are some great tips on how to use AI for goal achievement. Number one, tell AI who it is, right? They like to put on different hats. And so, for example, you might say something like, hey, you're a successful life coach, or you are a motivational speaker and a goal achievement expert. When you do that, AI now knows the angle into which you should be, or into which the information should be given.
And
Uh,
be as specific as
yep.
you possibly can. Like one of the things that I've personally realized with this is the more specific you can be, the more successful the answers will be when you ask it whatever questions you're asking. So you could say you are a goal achievement expert, completely versed in
Michael
Michael
Hyatt.
Hyatt's work, James Clear's work. You can feed it multiple examples, um, and then it's going to kind of go download the knowledge of that expert or that role that you're telling it should be.
Yeah. I love doing that. Once I started doing that, it actually gave me the information I was looking for. Right? Because I was
Yeah,
like, I remember playing around with like, just go achievement expert. And I'm like, nah, this isn't, like I know who that is, that type of goal achievement. And it's like, no, I want someone with balance. I'm like, no, I want Michael Hyatt. So I had to put his name
right.
in there. The second way is that give it background, right? Give it something like, hey, I'm setting goals for the next quarter and want help with ideas, right? So you want to make sure you give it as much context as possible so it knows what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah,
If you don't give it context, it's just going to be general. The more
yeah.
specific you are, the better you're going to be at it.
Yeah. So another great example of this would be like your goal achievement expert or a life coach or whatever, you're versed in X, Y, and Z experts. Um, I am working on goals for the next quarter. I've struggled to complete my goals in the areas of X, Y, and Z. And I specifically am looking for help in those areas. That might be a good way that you can dial it in even further with your context, give it as much information as you possibly can.
Yeah. Which leads to the third one. Marissa, you want to go for it?
Yeah. So that is to outline the assignment. So this is where you're just telling it what you want it to give you back. So you would say something like, help me generate 10 possible ideas for goals to improve my health. And if you've given it context specifically about what area of your health you are wanting to focus on, for instance, this is an area I'm focusing on right now. I just actually got a lot of blood work done for through it's called Function Health, and they do like hundreds of labs. It's super impressive and incredibly helpful. And you can actually upload PDFs. And so, if you want, like you could say, here's the PDF of my lab work. Help me generate 10 possible ideas for goals specifically related to improving my labs. Or this is actually something that I just did. You could also say, whatever context that you have that's going to be as useful as you could upload your bank statement and say, give me 10 possible ideas for how to improve my finances, or give it context about your finances and then ask it for ideas specifically related to that. And then you can say, generate ideas specifically to improve my wealth or to help me reduce my debt or whatever that might look like.
Yeah. Marissa, for people listening to this, they just thought, and they're afraid of using AI because they're afraid of it taking over. You're like, you just gave them the keys to the kingdom to Marissa Hyatt and how to best take her down. I
Yeah.
just can't.
Well, you can go into your privacy settings and make sure that Chat GPT does not use whatever information you have within your conversations to improve the model, which
Yeah,
is where it would save it. And so you can definitely do that, which I have done. So I'm feel fine about uploading that
that's
stuff.
awesome. And you know what's funny? I always tell people they're like who are worried about that. I'm like, listen, you post everything on social media.
It's true.
You have bank statements. Like if someone's going to take over the world and have that information, it's probably already out there. Like Google.
It's already happening.
That's why I don't hide anything. I'm like, look, people are going to know it one way or the other.
Yes.
It's too late, right? Unless you've
Yeah.
been off the grid since 1995, they know who you are. Uh,
Exactly.
okay, so far you tell AI who it is, you give it background, you outline the assignment, and then the fourth one is you discuss its output. Right,
Yeah.
so it's going to give you certain things, and you might be perfectly okay with it, or you can revise it. Like many times,
Yeah.
I will tell it, "Hey, you gave me X, Y, and Z. Can you give me 10 more options?" Or, "Hey, can you change this one?" Or, "Can you go in deep or go deeper in this section?" The more
One
you
of the
revise it, the better it is.
Yeah, and one of the things that I found to be really helpful too is to ask it not only whatever the output is that you're saying, hey, I want you to create, you know, 10 ideas or tell me 10 areas that I need to focus on. Ask it to explain why it's choosing those
Mm,
specific answers. AI thinks as it writes. And so the more that you get it to show its work, where it's able to explain why it's suggesting what it's suggesting, the better your answers you're going to actually end up getting. And this is a huge hack. I started doing this within the last week, and I've been doing a lot of my health kind of stuff, trying to figure out what supplements I need and what nutrition I want. I've been creating meal plans specific to my labs and dietary preferences and all. I mean, it's literally like I'm so obsessed with this. But if you're able to ask it to explain its thinking to you, your answers will be so much better. And don't be afraid to keep going back and saying, okay, I don't like that answer. I'm looking for more of this type. Can you show me more? Or can you give me more ideas specifically, like let's pretend that you had things related to getting out of debt and you wanted to call on somebody like an expert like Dave Ramsey, you could say, give me ideas that are specifically related to Dave Ramsey's work. And they're probably going to populate it with that. Or if you wanted to generate your wealth, if there's a specific investor or type of investing that you want to do, you can ask it to go drill deeper into that. So there's 4 opportunities for putting AI to work, specifically related to your goal achievement journey. So those are kind of the basics for getting started and knowing how to use AI the most effectively that you can. And now we want to talk about the opportunities specifically related to goal achievement. So Ken, why don't we jump into the first one?
Yeah. So opportunity number one is idea generation. And this is actually my favorite because sometimes I'm just stuck and I don't know where to start, right? It's kind of like looking at a blank piece of paper when you had to write a book report or anything like that. And you're like, how do I start this thing, right? This creates the idea. So AI can help you with possible goal ideas in any of our 9 life domains. So ask it for possible goals. And you might say, hey, I'm working on the 9 life domains from Michael Hyatt. Please give me possible goal ideas, right? And start a conversation with it just so it could just give you ideas to help you process what you should do.
Yes, I love idea generation. I especially once you figure out what your goal is, if you're trying to figure out things related to your goal. For instance, if you have a health goal and now you're trying to figure out how to execute that health goal, and you need ideas for workouts or for meal plans or things like that, you can ask. Like you can go way farther down in the process into idea generation again once you've nailed down the initial idea. But it's so helpful, exactly like you said, for kind of forgetting the blank page. Like you're never going to have to start with a blank page again. And if you expect AI's first answer or first response to be perfect, I think that's where most people fail. But if you expect it to be like a conversation that you might have with a friend or a colleague, that's where you're going to get the best results, is where you think of it like a conversation. So starting with the idea is a fantastic place to start if you don't know where else to start.
Yeah.
So definitely, asking for which goals that you might pursue could be helpful.
Yeah. One of the things that I love to do is sometimes brain dump on it. Like I don't even know exactly what I want or what idea. So I just start just vomiting on it.
Yeah.
And then it just cleans it up and it starts giving me ideas. And I'm like, yes, I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's such a great way too. You can say, like, here's kind of my initial thinking. Help me expand my thinking on this topic, or help me generate more ideas that'll go deeper, that are more effective, that would have better results for my goals. And it's a great place to start. Okay, opportunity number 2 is to make them smarter. So we talk a lot about smarter goals on Focus on This and at Full Focus. You may have heard of this before. You're probably familiar with SMART goals, but you may not be familiar with smarter goals. And this is just a revised acronym to the SMART framework that we've created that is even better than what you're probably used to with that. And you can use AI to help you create your goal to be more specific, measurable, actionable, risky, time bound, exciting, or relevant to your life. And like I talked about earlier, that you can upload documents to ChatGPT, you can upload books. And so if you have bought a book on, Amazon, and if you get the ebook version, you can actually save that as a PDF and then end up uploading that to ChatGPT, and it'll learn all the knowledge inside of that book. So, just a pro tip here, if you want to go deeper into the smarter framework and specifically with goals, you could upload my dad's book, Your Best Year Ever. And that would be a great place for AI to learn that knowledge, and then it can spit back out to you this how to make that specific goal smarter. So you could, if you aren't able to get the book, you could also ask it to find blog posts. So your first question might be, explain to me Michael Hyatt's smarter goal framework. And if it comes back and it has kind of a wonky answer, you can say, okay, go to, fullfocus.co/blog and find blog posts specifically related to smarter goals. And then have it summarize those. And then you could say, okay, now take my goal of running a half marathon and turn it into a smarter goal for me, or turn my goal of wanting to become more healthy into a smarter goal, and it'll spit back out some pretty amazing things for you.
I love it. I love it. Which then leads to opportunity number 3, right? Is that while you make the goal smarter, it could generate rewards and next steps for you, right? I think what ends up happening a lot of times is when we've talked to people in our community, our coaching programs, they don't have a reward, or they just don't know what reward to put in. So here, right, we want to ask AI, like, based off of my goal and based off of what you know about me so far, what great rewards or next steps can I build? And just again, it's generating ideas on how to get started and how to celebrate.
I think this is so helpful because one of the questions I hear a lot is I want to figure out a goal or figure out a reward for my goal that doesn't cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
And people struggle with trying to think through how can they celebrate once they've achieved their goal, but that isn't like costing them hundreds or thousands of dollars. It's easy to think of those things of take a trip or go to a really nice dinner or get a massage or whatever it might be. But if you're not wanting to spend a lot of your money on your celebration, AI can be a great tool to say, only tell me ideas that are below $100 or that are free, that don't cost any money. And when it comes to your next steps, I think this is where people can feel overwhelmed initially, and it's like, okay, great. I am so excited to get started on whatever the goal is, except, well, there's about a thousand things I could do, or I don't really know where to start. And so you can just put in your goal and then say, tell me what 10 possible next steps might be specifically related to this goal. And it might give you 10 back. And then out of that, you might pick 3 that you want to actually focus on within the next week or the next month. And it's such a helpful tool to just, again, get started. I think that's like the biggest thing with AI that it's enabling us to do is to stop like getting freaked out about what to do next
Yeah.
or how to start. This just gets us going immediately, which I love.
Yeah, I love it. Which then leads to opportunity number 4 of achieving your goals using AI, which is getting yourself unstuck. Right. So here's a reality is that throughout your journey of goal achievement, you're going to hit obstacles, right? We all hit it with our health issues, with anything. But if you describe to AI the obstacle that you're facing and ask it for getting unstuck, ask it for getting help. I think, one of the things that I think about for myself is I wish I would have been using AI a year and a half ago for my health goals. I've thankfully come across some good tips to it. But like, if I would have just been like, hey, can you help me get unstuck? Because I have this tendency of being all in too extreme,
Right.
where I'm like, I'll like do something hard for 90 days, but then after a while I'm binging and eating sugar.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, no. Here's my goal. How do I do this so that I don't keep falling into this bad cycle? Right. And it'll
Right.
generate a ton of ideas.
Well, and you could even ask it before. This is something that one of our kind of mentors and a consultant in our business has taught me to ask on a business setting, but this is so helpful on a personal setting, is to ask yourself the question, when you've created your goal, whatever your goal is, ask yourself, if I were to succeed, why did I succeed? Like, what are the things that helped contribute to me being successful with this goal? And often that is a lot of habits that we create related to that, or specific behaviors that we're interacting with that are enabling us. It's ultimately those next steps. Those are the things that are going to help you be successful. But then ask yourself, or ask AI, if I were to fail, why? Like, what is it that got in my way and prevented me from actually succeeding with accomplishing this goal? And this would be, I haven't done this yet, but this would be such a great, opportunity to go use AI for, is to ask, once you've created it and you figured out your next steps and all of it, ask it, if I were to fail at this goal, why would that happen? like what would have gotten in my way, and see what it comes up with. And it'll probably be able to spot those obstacles for you before you ever encounter them. And then you can say, provide for me strategies to overcome or avoid those obstacles altogether. And now I'm wanting to do this with my goals because I think that this could be so helpful for preventing you ever having to deal with those obstacles in the first place. I talked about this lab work that I just recently got done, and it's been so insightful for me and my health. I've been kind of dealing with some just minor stuff for probably the last, year that I feel like I can't make progress on. And so that's why I decided to get lab work done. Was I wanted to get better insight into what was actually going on. And using AI has been so helpful. And one of the biggest obstacles I've struggled with has been consistently eating at home because I love to go out. I enjoy food and I love cooking at home, but I also love going out with friends. And my biggest obstacle to eating at home is often time. It's easier to just go meet a friend for dinner or go grab something really quick, which I tend to not make the best choices in those situations. And the reason I don't do that is often because I didn't prepare properly. And so I took all of my lab work and a few different books about health that I have been recently really loving and impressed with, and uploaded all of those as documents and asked AI to tell me what markers were off, what I needed to do related to my nutrition, supplements, and lifestyle to get those back on track. And then after all of that, I then asked it to create me a meal plan. And I said, I want you to create me a 7-day meal plan. Here's my restrictions on that. I want everything to have, every meal to have 30 grams or more of protein. I want it to be X amount of calories. I want it to be full of flavor. I hate boring food. So I was like, it has to be full of flavor, preferably ethnic or, specifically Asian, and generate those for me. It needs to be totally clean ingredients. And what it came back with, I was blown away. Like, I'm actually very excited to go implement this next week and start making these meals and trying them. And that was a great way that I was able to kind of get unstuck from feeling overwhelmed of like, now I have all this information of what foods I need to eat, but now how do I actually go create this into my life? And AI was able to help with that. So it truly is such a great problem solver if you can look at it that way.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. There's, as you think about this, AI is going to be in every facet of life. And that's nothing to be afraid of. That's actually re-encouraging because sometimes you just need a sounding board for everything that's going on, and you could just utilize it. I've been using it for coaching. I've been using it for emails, like anything. Whenever I have something, my go-to has been, well, let me ask AI real quick. Because it could just probably pump out an answer, and it might not be 100% correct in what I wanted, but now at least I'm one step closer. And that's
so
the
good.
beauty of using AI for your goal achievement.
I couldn't agree more. It is so helpful to just getting you off the ground and getting you into motion. So hopefully, if you've learned nothing else today, you've walked away feeling more excited and confident using AI, specifically related to your goals. So just a quick recap. You want to tell AI who it is. You want to give it the background and context that it needs about the specific thing that you're talking about. You want to outline the assignment, and then discuss and have a conversation about the output that it ends up giving you. The opportunities that you have specifically related to goal achievement are: opportunity number 1 is idea generation. Number 2 is making your goals smarter. Number 3 is generating your rewards and next steps. And then lastly is getting yourself unstuck.
Thanks for joining us on Focus on This.
This is the most productive podcast on the internet, so please share it with your friends and be sure to join us in the Full Focus Planner community on Facebook so you can benefit from the creativity and encouragement of people chasing big goals just like you.
We'll be here next week with another great episode.
All right, well, until then, stay focused.